Artificial intelligence has been labelled one of the most important technological developments of our time. Many startups are looking to embrace the trend and apply AI to a wide range of different industries. One company that's looking to use AI to paint a descriptive picture of individual consumers for marketing purposes is Gyana. It says it's a self-serve platform that provides on-demand insight on people and places. I'm pleased to say that Gyana's CEO, Joyeeta, joins me now. So if we could just begin by talking a bit about what it is that your business exactly does.
So we are an applied AI company. We work with big data. We have a self-serve data science tool where you put in the location of a place, a store, a hotel, a restaurant, almost anything physical, and you're immediately able to see what kind of people go there, where do they come from, what else do they do with the rest of their day, rest of the week. So you get a deep customer insight. You get ideas of retention and loyalty because you can also see how many times they've come back in the last 1 month or the 6 months. But most importantly, you get to see competitive overlap. How many of them are spending time with your other competitors and when and how.
So how do you collect this big data?
So that has been a massive part of building the business, this network. So we have a big network of data providers who are, we have about 65 right now and increasing almost every week. And they provide us massive quantities of data in the back end. So they would be right from established providers that one knows of, like telcos, to not so well-known providers of different kinds of Wi-Fi, beacon, SDKs embedded in apps, location services, all of that pooling data into the background, and then the algorithm collates all of them, which is what we developed over a long time when we were building the product, and then it is able to pinpoint it to specific points in space and then knows what's happening around them.
So within the EU, we've got this GDPR regulation coming in this year. Clearly there's lots of benefits in terms of how it's going to help the consumer to make their own decisions about what data they want to share and what they don't want to. How is that impacting your business? Because I imagine that would be a headwind. Are you in favour of GDPR?
We actually love GDPR for multiple reasons. First of all, personally, like ethically, it's important to me that this happens because I'm also very much one of those millions of people who have a cell phone like everyone else, and I value my privacy. So, I quite like that. Business-wise, it has been great for us because GDPR really impacts the processor and the controller of data, the ones who collect and collate and process them, which is not us, it's our data providers. So even though we're not directly impacted, what we like about the fact is now our data providers must strip personal identifiers before they provide data to us, so we don't get things like name, phone number, address, gender, etc., which makes our job extremely neutral and ethical and
scientific. Doesn't it make it a lot harder though?
Not really. In the end, everything is a point inside the system, so it has a hashtag pseudo ID. It won't necessarily be, you know, Victoria with an address or a phone number, but it will be a hashtag pseudo ID through the system. So it's still a very valid number, but it doesn't give away personal information.
So there's obviously a lot of hype about AI and how it's really going to be such a transformative technology. There was an article in the FT this month saying that we're in danger of overestimating the impact of AI. What would you say in response to that?
Yes and no, in different areas. I think some of that paranoia about losing things, losing jobs, being overtaken by them, because I mean we are very far from general intelligence getting to that point. So that's probably the overestimation. But then in some areas the kind of impact it has had has been much more than we even imagined, because one of the things about the current AI cycle is that it's also very self-corrective and learns. Those are the kind of technologies that are deployed, right? Which means that the rate at which it improves itself and goes faster is beyond what we can imagine. As someone famously said, the future is a lot weirder and a lot closer than you imagine. So in some ways, I don't think it's overhyped, but definitely the paranoia is a little bit sci-fi movies and things like that.
So DeepMind is another AI company that's projected to potentially become a unicorn at some point. It's been acquired by Google. I just wanted to ask you about the landscape in terms of doing business. How fertile is it to you know, be an AI operator within the UK at the moment? How much of a challenge is Brexit?
It's amazing how the scale has like gone like very difficult few years ago to like really comparatively easier compared to many other geographies because of the capital available for AI, the interest of different industries to apply AI, and also the talent that's available currently in UK. And that will definitely get a little bit impacted by Brexit, because I worry about what's going to happen to all these talent. Like, not all of them have been residents here. For instance, my own company, I have people from across Europe and the world working, and we built our company out of Oxford University, where we were doing our masters, etc. And most people we interacted with, engaged with through ideas, bounced them off for. I worry what's going to happen to all of them if they're not around. So maybe there could be an impact. Yeah.
Would you consider relocating to another tech hub in Europe, say Berlin, or maybe even somewhere like Tel Aviv?
Not in the near future, unless things go horribly downhill. I think we still are at a point where not just Oxford and Cambridge, but UCL and Imperial, lots of colleges in universities in the UK are producing brilliant talent, and we still have a long way to go before we hit that point. But if Brexit causes a lot of relocation, and I don't know if we lose a lot of talent, it's definitely one of the things that will come up worth considering maybe pretty soon, because I mean, talent is everything in the AI industry, really.
So we've seen this phenomenon in the tech industry where many of these companies are making no profit, yet they still manage to achieve dizzy valuations.
Yeah.
Is profit a focus for you?
So I would say that for us, yes, definitely, because we are applied AI and we are SaaS, so we are evaluated with the same parameters that you would look at a SaaS industry to grow with. But I think many companies who've achieved dizzying valuations have two things. One is definitely the bubble of like the whole hype, but also I think that there is not always applied AI. There's also a lot of value in creating novel kinds of AI that could then be patented, licensed, or used as a part of a bigger infrastructure, in which case the entire focus is on talent and on the raw IP, not necessarily how they've productized it. But I think we're moving away from that, because AI is now getting rapidly institutionalized on the, I don't know, VC scale. So people looking at companies like us, we've definitely been asked to produce profit, literally month on month. So yeah, very much there.
I just wanted to ask you as well about the interest rate environment, because clearly we're moving to a phase where rates are looking to move higher in many parts of the world, not just in the US, also in Europe and Japan. Is that a concern for you in terms of your ability to raise funding?
Yes and no. I always feel that the VC industry is kind of like immune to these things. They still fund things that they really believe in, no matter how crazy. And then they also go through cycles of their own where they overfund something and underfund other things, as famously has happened. So I don't know how much the interest rates will impact VCs so much, but in general, the culture, the psychological fear of wanting to raise capital when all of that happens would definitely impact the entrepreneurs ourselves. Yeah.
And just before we go, gender equality is obviously a challenge in the C-suite. You're clearly representative of women, and it's fantastic to have lots more women within the tech industry especially. Are you optimistic about the future of women in business?
Optimistic, yes, but it's still not what it should be. I still walk into rooms where there are 40 men and there's just one of me. Or I've been to one conference, there were 800 men and 23 women.
Oh, wow.
I'm not kidding.
That's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. So it's absolutely not where it should be. I think we tend to see, I think that's one of my worries right now, that we have very small number of women and we kind of like blowing them out and speaking so much about them that you see them so much, you think that, oh my God, the problem's getting solved. But the numbers are not changing. They're still pretty bad. So having just 5 women out of like 600 male CEOs, and you talk about those 5 a lot, will make you feel like there are 500, but it's actually just 5.
So what do you think we can do to change this?
I think there has to be like effort across all the levels, right from education to investment to having decision makers represent genders equally in all decision-making tables. And I think we are quite a long way away from there. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. That was Joyeeta Das, CEO of Gyana. Thank you for joining us on IGTV. I'm Victoria Scholar, and remember, you can always follow me on Twitter at VictoriaS_IG.
Subscribe to IG for educational content, company insight, financial analysis, and expert commentary.